Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Green Dog Podcast. I am your host, Jacob Prale, alongside, and he's back in all his glory, your mom's favorite Little Leaguer, the Hunter Malone, the GDP guru. Hunter, welcome back. Hunter was out first episode because he was on a little vacay. Hunter, talk to us about that vacay.
Yeah, went to SEC land, kind of a precursor for today's episode. Went over into Tennessee, not quite where University of Tennessee is, but actually not too far away. So loaded up on plenty of moonshine, and we are geared up for today's episode.
Without further ado, we have a long list of teams to talk about. So we're just going to dive right in. Long list of teams. Every team in the SEC matters. Every Saturday matters. Every game more pivotal than the last. Rivalries run deep. You make appointments on the couch. That is SEC football. Of course, though, the Green Dog Podcast is presented by Florida Avenue Brewing, home of my boy Blue. Hunter, do they have anything new for the summertime that you know of? They got anything fresh?
They usually put out like a good summertime, like sour beer, like a fruit one that's typically pretty good, like a good berry, raspberry. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's always pretty solid.
Well, as always, give our friends down at Florida Ave a try. Without further ado here, we kind of broke this down. Me and Hunter are going to alternate teams. We'll obviously talk and give and, banter back and forth and all that, but, there's 16 teams in the SEC. Nearly half of them, the expectations is college football playoff or nothing. If you suck or if you lose 2 games, that may be the precipice to get fired for certain individuals that we may talk about. But without further ado here, Hunter, let's talk about and kick off the SEC with the Texas Longhorns. I think they're probably the most talked about team in the SEC for a multitude of reasons. All right, Steve Sarkisian is going into his 6th season with a 48-20 record. This is by far the roster that has the most money in the Steve Sarkisian era. They went and got absolute dudes in the portal, headlined by the Auburn stud wide receiver Cam Coleman. They also got Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, running backs from Arizona State and NC State, respectively. Absolute great recruiting class for Sarkisian. It's the most money he's poured in. He's led by a ton of returners as well, obviously headlined by Arch Manning, who had 3,163 yards last year, 26 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Also, that offensive line shored up by Trevor Gooseby. Ryan Wingo is back with his 834 yards. And then Colin Simmons is manning that defense with 15.5 tackles for loss last season. Now, with Steve Sarkisian and company, Arch Manning took a massive step forward in the last probably 6 games of the year, making a push to make the CFP. But unfortunately, they had a bad loss to Florida, and that pretty much kept them out of making the CFP. Arch, first 6 games of the year, bust. Last 6 games of the year looked like the Arch Manning we thought and we knew. He utilized his legs a ton. He had nearly 400 yards rushing, averaging 4.3 yards per rush. He had 10 rushing touchdowns as well to couple it. So he's clearly dual threat, wants to do it with his legs, and really needs to test this arm this upcoming season. So Hunter, talk to me a little bit about what you're looking at Texas, and then let's dive into kind of our questions and maybe if we have any answers in terms of that for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I think for Texas, it's title or bust. I think it's just that simple. Steve Sarkisian's been in here for quite a while, and the results have been no championships, no SEC championships, no national championships. And with Texas, just like at Oklahoma, we want championships. Now, Texas on paper looks sexy. On paper, super talented. And when you look at them and the other title contenders being the reigning SEC champions, Georgia, on paper, who would you rather have, Manning or Stockton? Probably Manning. Problem is Texas is 0-3 against Georgia. And does Texas have a Georgia problem, or does Stark Is he the James Franklin of the SEC? In the big moments in the big games, Stark seems to come up short, but we don't really talk about it. Why? Because he won a playoff game, the Arizona State game, where the targeting call was uplifted, kind of saved him there. I love Cam Coleman getting added. Hollywood, Smothers, Raleek Brown. I think those are some dudes. I mean, this is easily one of the deepest teams in all the country. But linebacker Rasheem Biles, the 4-star that came over, dog. Even the offensive tackle, Jonte Newman, he's a 3-star that got in there. But I think the biggest addition out of all of them is Will Muschamp. You put him into that system, and now it is going to be elite. I mean, this is simply title or bust for them, and I think Texas went all in. I don't like it, but I like, if you take the logo and that nasty orange off of it, I really like this team. But then when I look at it, it's nasty. I hate it. I don't like that you guys went over there. But I'm going to pivot to the team that I talked about a little bit with them, with Georgia, kind of to pivot on to the other title contender. If Georgia's going to win the Natty, it's not the explosives that they need. They've got to run the ball at will. They got to run the ball like Georgia knows how to run the ball. And when they do that, you watch that play-action game explode. I mean, I felt like last year they tried to have Gunner win every game for them. Throw. You won a Natty with the guy who barely threw 200 yards in a game. Everybody loves Stetson Bennett. He wasn't no gunslinger. You had the defense win it, and you got to protect Gunner Stockton. And Gunner, to a fault, has to protect himself. I think when you protect the big plays, and especially when the big plays are happening, those play actions, I felt like several times last season, it was, he's wide open, but the guard got beat. So, boom, immediately Gunner's sacked, or he scrambles, check down a little 4-yard, when we could have had a 45-yard explosive. And then on the other side, when it was protected, everybody was covered. I think the biggest thing for Georgia, other than running the ball, is execution. I think defensive excellence it's got to be there from December to January. It's just simple. When it's the biggest games, you got to have excellence. We saw it from Ohio State 2 years ago. We saw it from Indiana last year. Those are the excellence, and you got to have great D.
Yeah,
Gunner, Yeah.
I want to dive in real quick before we get too far into Georgia. I think Texas and Georgia are so similar, where it's a key piece of the offense has to take the step forward, right? For Texas, it's the run game. Last year, their number one rusher last year was Wisner with 597 yards, according to my stats here, with Arch being the number 2 guy. Stockton, in a very similar role, was nearly the number 2 rushing guy on the team with Frazier and Bowens. And, granted, that's a really good 1-2 punch to have. On the flip side for Georgia, where Texas is uber talented at receiver and has kind of taken the steps to address the running game, I am not sure that Georgia has taken the steps to address the wide receiver game. I am very concerned about this wide receiver core. The Zachariah Branch left. So the number 1 guy coming back is, I believe, Young. If I'm mistaken, according here, not Young, but they're gonna have probably fresh new guys, right?
You need Zion Branch to step up. Zachariah's brother. You need him to step up and be in an explosive role. I don't know if Colby Young not retired, but I don't know if Colby Young is still on the team. But originally from Miami.
I have on here just not a ton of experience at wide receiver. And obviously for Texas, it is championship or bust. For Georgia fans, it is championship or bust. For LSU, it is championship or bust with that move of Kiffin, right? And then we can kind of put Ole Miss maybe in that conversation because they brought back Chambliss and, you have Kawan Lacey. Those to me, if you're looking at tier 1 teams of it's championship or bust, those are it. I mean, A&M always will feel like that, but buddy, you haven't won anything since ever. So you can't feel that way yet.
A&M always feels like 8-4.
Always. So Hunter, I guess
you did last year, you're 8-4.
So Hunter, I guess my question to you is, what if Texas is so sexy and look so good, but we know what Georgia's going to do. Do you feel like Georgia's just flying under the radar in this SEC kind of media junket we're doing this offseason? Like, you're not talking a lot about, you know what Kirby's going to give you. I mean, Kirby is freaking 117-21 going into his 11th season. They're going to have a statue of the man outside of Sanford Stadium. So talk to me a little bit about Georgia and how are you feeling in terms of like the media? Because you know me, I'm online. I'm not seeing a lot of noise around Georgia, but we know Georgia's going to be at the top. So talk to me about like why are they maybe being under the radar or disrespected?
Yeah, I think it's just not as sexy. Like we said, on paper, Arch, Manning, Gunnar, Stockton. It's always the quarterbacks, the Manning family. Obviously, he just had the camp where we saw, John Mateer show out them guns. But why is it sexier to talk about Texas? I feel like Texas is always going to be a bigger brand name. People are always going to gravitate to that burnt orange, the 2005 Rose Bowl game, the Vince Young, the Colt McCoys, things like that, Mac Brown. The big names like that. Georgia has got Herschel Walker, and that's pretty much it up until recency. It's just not, you want Texas to come back so bad. We heard Sam Ehlinger, Texas is back. It's been pushed for so long gradually that now they're not back. They're here, and they're a problem. And on paper, it's sexy. But one thing I know about a Nick Saban tree is they love rat poison. And Kirby Smart's eating this shit up. This is bulletin board material for his guys. I want you to tell me we're not going to win the SEC again. Go ahead. Tell me how good Texas is. We're going to put it right up on the bulletin board, and I'm going to remind them every week, hey, they're better than you. Everybody believes they're better than you. Prove them wrong. That's bulletin board. And if I'm on the SEC, I want y'all to keep picking Georgia. Pick Georgia. Pick that. Don't piss off Kirby and the dogs. Like, make Texas do something. Knock off the king. And when it comes to the media, it's Texas or Georgia. Do you want to pick Georgia, a team that's safe, won it the past, 3 years? Or do you want to pick something new and exciting, Texas, on the rise? Do you want to jump now and say Texas is winning it all? Because if they do, you were right back in July. That's the sexy appeal to it. Do I want to jump on this new bandwagon and be right? Or do I want to take the safe option and say, look, I was right back in July when I told you the dogs were going to win again. They're on top. It's just, that's the media of it. They want Texas. They want a change, a revolving door, that feel of Georgia doesn't run the SEC. It's wide open. So we're going to talk about everybody but Georgia. And that's why the media is going to talk about everyone but the dogs.
Just looking at the schedules here, Texas, we know, has the big awaited matchup with Ohio State coming to DKR. For those non-ball knowers, it's Darren K. Royal Stadium. So they get Texas State, Ohio State, UTSA. Then they go to Tennessee, Red River against Oklahoma, Florida at home, Ole Miss at home, Mississippi State at home, to Mizzou, to LSU, home against Arkansas, to Texas A&M. Kind of a strong SEC slate for Texas that even if they get, 2 losses, it's going to be hard. Like, if they get a big win against Ohio State to start the year, or get a big win over Oklahoma, or that big win over Ole Miss, they're going to be almost undeniable to the CFP because of how hard that slate is. Going to Georgia, Tennessee State, Western Kentucky. Then they go to Arkansas, Oklahoma at home, Vandy at home, to Bama, Auburn at home, Florida in Atlanta this year due to the Jacksonville renovations, at Ole Miss, Mizzou at home, at South Carolina, Georgia Tech in Atlanta, I think, actually. No, at home this year. I think it's next year they go to the neutral site.
Ain't it a shame we don't get Texas and Georgia in the regular season?
It's just the way the bracketing and the scheduling has to work out. So, but let's talk about, is there anything else here? Did we miss anything else? Any key guys for Florida and Georgia? I mean, not Florida and Georgia, for Texas and Georgia. I mean, the Will Muschamp thing I think is going to be really fascinating because that was one of my questions. I write a question for each team is, what's his level of impact going to be? Because if he could come in and be super impactful for this Texas defense, I mean, it's going to be big. Like, Texas can win Big Ten football games because they'll just thug it out with you. Make it nasty, slow, methodical, boa constrictor. So, is there anything else we're missing here? I feel like we got everything out there.
Yeah, I feel like that's good.
So, let's dive into the next two tiers of teams here. We have LSU and Ole Miss, arguably the two teams everybody talked about, all playoff, all off season, minus, the Texas hype. So, let's dive into LSU. They go and get the big fish, Lane Kiffin, right? They go and get Lane Kiffin here, and he brings everybody. Can you mute yourself, Hunter? I can hear your AC. There you go. So he brings everybody. He brings over OC Charlie Weiss. He goes against the number one quarterback in the portal, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. The whole offense is basically brand spanking new. He went and got Harlem Berry. Harlem Berry's a returner,
He was the running back already.
Yeah, my thing's not bold that said he's a starter. He wasn't a starter. But he went and got Jace Brown from K-State, Malik Blockton from Auburn, Stephen Green from Clemson. Major returners, obviously I mentioned Harlem Berry, and obviously DJ Pickett. The tight end, Trey Dees Green, is going to be also a massive impact. There's only one thing to talk about when it comes to LSU. It is, what is Lane Kiffin's first year going to look like? And it's really, if you're an LSU fan, it's two expectations. SEC title game, college football playoff. After that, I think they will say year one is a success of Lane Kiffin if they accomplish both those feats. If they don't, if they go 1-2, depending on how far they go into the CFP, may alleviate missing the SEC title game. But it's a whole lot of new guys, man. There's a lot of new players on this team. Of course, Lane was able to freaking keep Whit Weeks. I freaking hope so, buddy. Hunter, talk to me about LSU here, man, because they threw all this cash. They went and got the big fish in Kiffin and in Leavitt, and adding all these pieces. The team last year was disappointing, obviously, that got Brian Kelly fired. I feel like LSU fans are like, dude, we're going to go win the national title. I think you and I are both a little bit more of the reserved mindset of like, hey, man, you got a first-year coach in a new system with a quarterback coming off an injury. You got almost a whole new starting offense, a whole new starting defense. You're going to have growing pains, and unfortunately, you're not going to get those in the first 3 games. You're going to get Clemson, who's going to test you week 1. You get Louisiana Tech, give them a bag of cash, get your butt whooped, and then you got to go to what is arguably going to be the most hostile college football game we have maybe ever seen in our lifetime. Going to Ole Miss, they're going to have to call the National Guard for this game. Like, if you work at Ole Miss and you're in like event ops, I need to talk to you about how you are planning for this game. Like, talk to me about LSU, Hunter.
Yeah, I think LSU, which starts with Lane Kiffin and follows that, is got to be the return from the transfer portal. You go and get your guy Sam Leavitt, who isn't my number 1 or even number 2 quarterback in the transfer portal. I think he's a little rogue. He's got a little material in him, but he's got a good game to him. I just don't love the hint of quit that we saw from him over at ASU, or at least what was reported, not confirmed. I think the other big name that they got was Jordan Seaton. That's the big offensive tackle from Colorado. I like a lot of his game. I mean, this is a big body sitting there at 6'5", 330. Good luck moving that. Went and stole, obviously, his guys from Ole Miss. We see Prince Will Umenaman. I always butcher his last name. Dude, stud. 6'5", coming off the edge. Big dude. Ty Benfield from Boise State. That safety is insane. I like that they went and got Trey Wilson III. They went and got Winnie from Ole Miss, and then they went and got Trey Brown out of Old Dominion. They also got one of the 2 wide receivers from Hawaii. Last season, I told you Hawaii's got a stud quarterback and 2 wide receivers that belong in the Power 4. They get one of them, that being Jackson Harris, the 6'3" big body, and I don't remember where the other one went, but he also went Power 4. I want to say Virginia Virginia Tech. But brand new wide receivers in this room. You get the Weeks brothers back for another season, with it being Whit Weeks in his last year.
I wonder why Whit Weeks came back, Hunter. I wonder how Lane was able to win him back over.
I mean, it helps that he got injured early in the year. Getting 5-star Nick Anderson. There's talent on this. There's also some that I questioned. I take that back. Nick Anderson left. There's talent on here for sure, but regardless, there's some people that I'm like, I don't know if I want that in my locker room. Like, the talent is there, but it feels like a lot of Lane Kiffin in this locker room.
Yeah. So let me talk to you blind resume here. If LSU is 2-2 after 4 weeks, how fast are you burning the boats? I'm not going to tell you who those opponents are. I gave you 3 of them, but you're 2-2 after 4 weeks. How are you feeling?
I mean, 2 losses. One of them's got to be Ole Miss, just because it's early on. I mean, even if you lose to Ole Miss, and then I think their week 1 game is against Louisville or something like that.
Clemson. Their week 4, their first 4 opponents is Clemson, Louisiana Tech, Ole Miss, A&M. 3 out of those 4 games though are home.
If it's Tech, then we have a problem. Like, if you go 2-2, I don't jump off a bridge at all. You can still get in the playoffs with 2 losses. You just have to be damn near spotless. I think if you lose those games competitively, I don't have an issue with it. If you're getting blown out, there's an issue.
2-2. Remaining schedule goes McNeese at Kentucky, Mississippi State at Auburn, Alabama, Texas at Tennessee at Arkansas.
Alabama and Texas, you have to be spotless.
Okay. So would you say the floor, worst case scenario, you have 4 losses in year 1 of Kiffin?
Yeah. 8-4, I wouldn't be. Obviously, you'll be upset by it because of the talent and everything, but the schedule is daunting.
The Clemson game, I think is going to be a win. I think the real true test will be that A&M game, because if they go into Ole Miss and win, which, one, personally, I'm having a hard time seeing it just the way this Ole Miss team's built this year. But also, dude, they may pull Wemby and what Mexico did to England and just find your hotel and keep you up all night. You know what I mean?
They used to do that back in the day. I mean,
the true test to me will probably feel like that A&M game as a true barometer, because I think there's going to be so much emotion that happens in that Ole Miss game that it's if you win, all right, I need to see how you're going to bounce back against another really tough test. And if you lose, guess what? I still need to see how you're going to bounce back from a tough loss. So I think that true barometer is for A&M early, is against A&M early. Hunter, yes or no, just yes or no, LSU SEC title. Do they make the SEC title game? Do they make the college football playoff?
I'll say yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Ole Miss. The Rebels bring back a very talented starting offense headed by Trinidad Chambliss. Not a lot of people talking about Trinidad Chambliss getting an injunction from an Ole Miss judge here in the great state of Mississippi. But then you get one of the best running backs in the entire country in Quan Lewis, who had 1,005. What did I say, Lewis? Oh, Lacey. Excuse me. Quan Lacey, 1,567 yards rushing, 24 touchdowns. Chambliss took over the starting job when Austin Simmons got hurt and never looked back. 3,937 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, and an impressive 3 interceptions. Let me pull up my notes here. They got some major transfers in here as well. Jonte Cook and Daryl Gill, Syracuse wide receivers coming over. I know you loved Jonte Cook back in the day, Hunter. But the biggest, they also get another year of Deuce Alexander. But the defense is where a lot of the transfers are coming in from. They got Jordan Renaud from Alabama off the edge. They got Blake Purchase from Oregon off the edge. You got Keaton Thomas, a stud linebacker from Baylor, who was all over the field, 200-plus tackles for the Bears last year. It is now Pete Golding's first year at the helm. He did a great job managing that Ole Miss kind of fiasco. But now that's the real deal. You get a full offseason. Trinidad's back. Expectations have never been higher at Ole Miss. I guess for you, my question is for you, Hunter, when it comes to this Ole Miss team, and dive into your whatever you have written down. But was last year Kiffin magic? Or is this Trinidad Chambliss thing going to be legit for a second year?
I'm interested to see how the offense looks with the change in quarterbacks, the change in scheme. I think it'll be built around Trinidad to be successful. Obviously, him and Lacey, the two to be successful. I look at the depth pieces. I like that they went and got Walker Howard back from Louisiana. It's a good depth piece right there, former 4-star. I like that you hinted that Trinidad needed injection. I think getting Luke Farrelly from Clemson helps kind of put up that smoke screen, as we're all kind of still yelling at them for the same thing. They went and got good depth. Nothing crazy. Also went and got Deuce Knight kind of to fill in for next year with Trinidad and Uncle Wawa being both seniors. I think Deuce Knight will be the backup this year. See him in early playing time to get a feel for the offense. I like what they put together. It feels like they plugged in and necessities, but also are letting their guys play that they went out and recruited early on. It feels like a good complete team. I don't think they are as deep as other SEC teams, but sitting right around LSU territory just feels right.
Yeah, I really think this Ole Miss team, I really think they're going to be really impressive this year. I think a second year with Trinidad, the steps that, like, he was super impressive in 1 year of SEC football. Now he's got another year of tape. He's seen it all. He knows what these guys are going to throw at him, and now he knows what the pressure is going to feel like. This guy, like, he has a chance to, like, really make some noise this upcoming year, like potential Heisman level noise for Trinidad Chambliss. The question that I wrote down is, can the offense, like, get to any level of, like, being elite? Last year, here was their ranks, Hunter. In scoring defense, they were ranked 37th. Rushing, they were 69th. Nice. Passing, they were 37th, and then in total, they were ranked 48th defensively. I'm not sure if 48th ranked defense is going to go win you a national title.
Not unless you get hot.
So, like, to me, I think that's a really big question mark. Obviously, I'm really fascinated to see what happens to Pete Golding this year. The schedule is a good battle-tested schedule of Louisville in a neutral site, Charlotte, the big game against LSU, at Florida, at Vandy, Mizzou, at Texas, Auburn, Georgia, at Oklahoma, Wofford, and Mississippi State. So it's a tough schedule in the middle, but it also can lead you to a lot of dividends if you're able to go get those wins. So Ole Miss, they're right there. So Hunter, same three questions I'm going to ask you. Ole Miss SEC title?
No.
SEC title game?
No.
College football playoff?
2, maybe 4 losses? No.
Okay. Let's dive into, you want to go A&M or Alabama next?
We can go A&M.
We're going to the next tier. These are, we consider these guys contenders, but they're more just like they need a lot of chips to fall their way to get up to be and make some noise. So Texas A&M, Hunter, break it down for me.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M is going to be damn good. I think that's what it is. I look at the defensive side first. I think they got 4 cornerbacks that could start about 90% of rosters. Des Ricks, Julio Humphrey, Ricky Gibson, Brandon Arrington. I mean, how you going to get them all on the field, coach? Like, you got to run a lot of nickel. Not to mention Anto Saka, big dude. He is a dude, not a jag, a dude. And if you don't know him, you're going to. DJ Hicks, looks like he hit the weight room. That offensive line looks good. I really like the defense a lot. Now, when you look at the other side of the ball, obviously we all know quarterback for them. It's who's protecting him is going to be the problem. 4 new offensive line transfers. The offensive coordinator is an in-house promotion. I don't love that personally. I like when you open it up and see who's the best candidate for the job, especially for a coordinator position at the Power 4, at the SEC level. Like, that's cool if you're, P6, bro. Like, yeah, promote him. This is A&M, bro. I want the best of the best. Well, you just saw Texas went and got Will Muschamp. Like, what are we doing here? I don't love it. We'll see if, I ended up biting my words. The addition of Isaiah Horton, I think, will be a huge ordeal. Last year, Alabama kind of had him at a different spot. I think he's a true X receiver. Now, obviously, it helps when you have Bernard over there, who is just a big body. So made sense why Horton couldn't be the X receiver. You put him over Mario Craver is going to be in the slot. I think that's a badass combo there at Texas A&M. But still, the concerns are on the offensive line, and that line. Can you protect? Can you control the line of scrimmage? In the game where the trenches matters more than ever, can you do your job?
Yeah, I think my biggest question mark with A&M is, can Marcel Reed cut down on the mistakes, man? This guy accounted for 16 turnovers last year, 12 interceptions, 4 fumbles. He only threw for 25 touchdowns. He did have 6 rushing, so he nearly had a true kind of 2-to-1 ratio in terms of touchdowns to turnovers. Like, that's not going to go win you SEC titles or national titles in this day and age. It's not going to win you it's going to win you games because you're playing against some pretty weak opponents in the SEC at times. But I have a lot of questions about the offense a little bit because I need to know what Marcel Reed can do. Marcel Reed is going to take this team as far as they can. They don't have a guy that is like a Quan Lacey or an Ahmad Hardy, like someone who can like also break the game open themselves. Like you also don't have like a Jeremiah Smith. Like Mario Craver, I love. I think his skill set is awesome. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. Pair him up with Horton. Those two dudes are dogs. I think that's a great first step for Marcel Reed. Right? Ruben Owens, he had 600-plus rushing yards last year. They're going to get him the rock as well a lot more with Le'Veon Moss departing for the NFL. Can the offensive line protect him? Like you said, Hunter. I just have some question marks, man. I like Elko. The defense that Elko runs, they're going to be fine. Ranks last year for A&M on offense, they were 19 in scoring offense, 30th in rushing, 30th in passing, 23rd overall. Defense, they were 36 scoring, 40th rushing, and 16th in passing. So the secondary is clearly the strong suit, being ranked 18th overall. So not really causing a lot of turnovers either, barely causing a turnover per game. So that's got to go way up if they want to make any level of impact. But I get same questions, Hunter. SEC title for A&M?
No.
Do they have a path to make the SEC title game?
No.
Do you think they go back to the college football playoff again?
No, I don't trust it.
Okay. Schedule goes Missouri State, Arizona State, Kentucky at LSU, Arkansas at Missouri, the Citadel, watch out, at Alabama, at South Carolina, Tennessee, at Oklahoma, Texas.
Yeah,
Tough 3 games the end of the year, I'll tell you what.
Stretch down the end, the offensive line is going to be hurt and somebody's going to be out.
That's a tough stretch to go. Let's dive into Alabama here, and then we'll go Oklahoma after Alabama. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I guess.
Or do you want to go Oklahoma? You want to go Oklahoma?
No, I have Alabama pulled up in front of me.
All right, we'll go Alabama here. This team, to me, Hunter, is defined by 3 things. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? What is the defense going to look like? And how hot is Kalen DeBoer's seat when they don't make the college football playoff?
You had me on
Buddy.
2.
Huh?
You had me on 2. You got me on the first 2. I liked it. The Kalen DeBoer thing, I mean, didn't the dude not just take you to the playoffs and win a game for you on the road?
Dude, I have an Alabama fan, like a friend who's a massive Alabama fan, and he hates Kalen DeBoer with a passion. And I'm like, buddy, he just took you back to the CFP.
Yeah, sorry, your steak is too juicy and your lobster's too buttery. Cry me a river. We don't have a natty. Bro, like, calm down, all right? You just had the greatest quarterback of all, or the greatest coach of all time win you 5 or 6 rings. Now you have Kalen DeBoer, somebody who made the national championship and lost to a team that cheated. Could have won a natty there. Came to Alabama, brought his guys, and has been nothing but successful. Have you had less than 10 wins under the Kalen DeBoer era?
So they are 20. His record is 20-8. I think Alabama fans, because they're stuck in the Saban way, they're like, well, Saban's last 5 years, he barely, I think Kalen DeBoer has lost the same amount of games in his first 2 years than Nick Saban lost in his last 5. And I go, okay, well, what has changed prior to Nick Saban retiring? NIL.
It's only like a little thing. Yeah, I think that NIL thing is really it. It's just like the pitch clock in baseball. It's so little. You don't even hardly notice it.
To me, I think the Kalen DeBoer thing is I agree, is also blown way out of proportion. The guy does wonders. Your quarterback was somehow a first-round draft pick this past year. He did not look good in the latter part of the season, but you didn't have a run game. If you want to have a bigger storyline to why your offense didn't work, how about it's because Jam Miller didn't know how to run the ball?
Yeah, he makes me so mad the way he runs straight up. It's dude, run behind your pads.
And also Ryan Williams, kind of uncharacteristically, had a ton of drops for being a high volume receiver. There was a note in here somewhere for his percentage, but I'll find it when I find it. But you can't be Ryan Williams and be on the cover with Jeremiah Smith in College Football 26, be heralded as the next great wide receiver that we do every single year, and put up the numbers you did last year. He had 689 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns. That's just not going to cut it this year. Not going to cut it. You lose not only Jeremy Bernard, but now you also lose Isaiah Horton to the portal. You have a quarterback battle going on right now with Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, which, I don't know. Who do you think wins that, Hunter? Keelan Russell, 5-star quarterback, freshman, though, or Austin Mack, who's been a backup for the last several years under DeBoer, who I think he brought him over from Washington, if I read my numbers correctly here.
Yeah,
Mack or Russell?
I think both are uber talented. I think the fact that Mack isn't the favorite already shows you how good Russell is. Russell just got here. Mack's been in the system for quite some time, and Russell's showing you not only through his talent, but also his smarts. I'm able to learn the offense and run it and produce and be efficient. I think that says a lot. I think you want to give it to Mack just because he's waited his time. Let Russell sit a year, and you might be able to win the job mid-season. Obviously,
also,
with Alabama. Yeah.
That Ryan Coleman Williams number was 13%. He dropped the ball 13% of the time.
He also changed his name and his number after a season that his career, it almost kind of reminds me of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. First year, nothing. Just, I'm balling. Caitlin Clark. The next year, what do? Teddy bears, painting nails, dropping balls, more in commercials than touchdowns. What are we doing? Can we just put the layup up? What are we doing? Can we?
But now Caitlin Clark's cooking. She had 45 the other night. Girl balled out.
So year 3, are we going to be more Angel Reese and be off the field? Or are we going to stick to being on the field, be Caitlin Clark, and just cook? What season am I looking for?
When we're looking, I want to dive into the Alabama defense very quickly here, and then you can finish your spiel. Major transfers for them: Devon Tompkins from USC, Terrence Green from Oregon, Caleb Woodson from Virginia Tech at linebacker. I think the biggest name and the guy who has the chance to be the biggest level of impact for Alabama, I'm going to butcher his first name, but is it Yonze Pierre? That's what I'm going with. I'm just going to call him Yo Pierre at this rate.
Yo, Pierre.
Yo Pierre. Yo Pierre. Yo Pierre last year had 14 and a half tackles for loss and 8 sacks, and he's back for another year. Took a massive step forward on that defense. Hunter, finish us up talking Alabama here.
Honestly, I like what they did in the transfer portal and the trenches. They realized what they needed, and that was depth in the offensive line, and they went and got that. And Nick Brooks out of Texas, we went and got that. Ethan Fields from Ole Miss. We got Ty Haywood from Michigan. But I also like that they went and got some of the top quality interior linemen over at Cal Poly. I mean, the inside lineman, Rayson Delgatti, is a big dude, 6'3", 300. No slouch at all. They went and got the safety out of Mercer, Carmelo O'Neal. I think he's going to be a starter. 6'4", 200 pounds out of your safety. He can play. I'm excited to see what he can do. The one thing I don't love is they went and got literally anybody from Oklahoma State, a tight end from Josh Ford. Don't get anything from Oklahoma State from last year. It's not good. It's spoiled milk. That's the only knock I've got on their transfer portal. Everything else, I love when you went, and my favorite draft pick is, if I'm running a team, I'm getting a big man. I want a lineman. That's the sexiest pick in the draft. What did you do in the transfer portal? You went and got the sexiest guys out there. Let me get some 330-pound men in my trenches. That's what I like about Alabama. That'll help, obviously, in the run game that we're questioning, but as well as give, potentially, Mac or Russ some more time as it's their first year being a starter.
Let's talk about your Oklahoma Sooners here, Hunter. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Let me set the scene, though. Brent Venables is going into his 5th year, 30, 32, and 20. Roller coaster of a kind of coaching for him, but seems like the train is back on the tracks of the good Oklahoma Sooners that we know. Hunter, the floor is yours for your Sooners.
Yeah, I think I'd like to remind you, let's see, 10 months ago, who did everyone have as the number 1 Heisman winner? I mean, without a doubt, we all were like, it's John Mateer. I think we forgot how good this guy is. Year 3, Ben Arbuckle's system. Now pretty much everyone's year 2. It takes you a little bit to get used to that system. That offense is going to be a juggernaut. It's going to be there. Adding Trail Harris from Virginia. Huge pairing. We went and got Rocky Beers from Colorado State, the big tight end, Parker Livingstone from Texas, to pair with Satania, who's got just elite track speed. The offense is going to be there, and I want to say I questioned the defense, but I will never, ever, ever question a Brent Venables defense, especially when you have Big Stone up the middle. I mean, that is probably a day 1 draft pick right there. This defense is impeccable. It is insane. And so with that, you got to question the offense. Is John Mateer going to be healthy? Is he going to be Superman? Do you need him to be Superman? We saw him in the Alabama game do too much, try and be Superman. The off-platform throws, not setting our feet, air-mailing throws. Are you going to be able to do that and get away with it this year? Are we going to be able to stay healthy? I know you put on some weight. Is that an intention to make it through the whole season? Is that an intention because you're going to be running the ball a little bit more? That's what I'm wondering. The throwing motion has changed. The mechanics are cleaned up. We're watching film with Sam Bradford. We are working with Josh Allen's quarterback coach to clean up the mechanics. And honestly, it looks good. He looks clean. He looks in great shape. I'm excited to see what he does this year. And I'm excited to see what the Brent Venables defense look like. What I questioned is the schedule. At Michigan, at Georgia, neutral site, Texas, at Florida. The swamp is always hostile. You still have to go and play Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Those are 6 games that I'm terrified. And then last week of the season, I get to go to Missouri and see Ahmad Hardy.
And I'll tell you what, it's the first time I think Oklahoma's coming back to Mizzou
in a long time.
And Mizzou fans, I'll tell you right now, we have that circled on the calendar because that's everybody wants that back. We want that. good or bad. I agree with you. I think I wrote it down somewhere, but this team is as far as John Mateer is going to take them. That Heisman level Mateer is what's going to get you to a college football semifinal. It's what's going to get you to an SEC title game. It's what may win you an SEC title, right? You bring back Taylor Wine on the edge. He had 15 tackles for loss last year and 7 sacks. So you bring back a nice pivotal piece of your defense. Not to mention Isaiah Satania, Satania the third. You bring him back, third year with the same OC, second year in the SEC. You put on weight. The mechanics look good. You throw a beautiful ball at the Manning Academy that got me a little juiced. Like, Twitter was going crazy. Twitter coaches were loving it.
That was sexy.
Yeah, like, what I think it really is, like, to me, would you, Hunter, as a Sooners fan, feel like the season is a disappointment if you don't get out of the first round of the college football playoff?
No, because I can see the schedule. I mean, I pointed, 6 or 7 games that are pretty ridiculous. I feel like I have the same feeling as I've had last year. Like, I didn't expect us to make it. I was kind of hoping for a Citrus Bowl or an Outback Bowl, so selfishly I could go to it. Unfortunately, they didn't lose, and so I didn't get to see them because they were hosting a playoff game. So my lobster's too buttery and my steak is too juicy at that point. But this year, I kind of have the same anticipation. I don't expect us to beat Georgia. I would love to go to Georgia and win. I think the offense could do it. I think the defense can hold them. I think it'll be a really good game. But do I trust it? That's probably one that I'll pick Oklahoma, but kind of stay away for betting wise. Texas, I mean, anything goes with Texas. We saw from the Caleb Williams games, being down 4 or 5 touchdowns. Next thing you know, take out Spencer Rattler, put him in, bang, Oklahoma wins. Anything goes there. The only big game I'm confident in is Michigan, and that's just because I know.
Where do you want to go next here? We want to go Missouri, Florida, or Tennessee?
You can take over Missouri, and then I will go to Tennessee.
Cool. I'll talk Mizzou here. Man, where do we want to begin, right? Last season, defense was elite. Offense couldn't do anything, right? The same old crap as always. Kirby Moore somehow got a head coaching job, so good for him. And good for us. We did not want him anymore, and he left. Ahmad Hardy, if he does not run out to many men first game of the year, we're not doing something right here, Mizzou. Ahmad Hardy is the best running back in the country. I'll say it 10 times out of 10. He's the best running back in the country. He's the best running back with yards after contact. But this is basically an entirely new defense and mostly a new offense. Austin Simmons is now the quarterback. I think that's, a semi-upgrade from Bo Pribula. He beat out Zollers in spring camp. Drink was very definitive in being like, Simmons is the guy. I'm going to name it now so we don't have a quarterback controversy going to Arkansas Pine Bluff and we play on Thursday night like he did the last 2 years with like Zollers and Sam Horn and Pribula and Cook. Like, he was definitive that Simmons is the guy. They bring over Caden Lee, the slot receiver from Ole Miss. You get big Donovan O on the outside, who had 30 catches last year and really showed glimpses of just being an absolute dog as a sophomore. They also bring in Caleb Goody from Cincinnati. You get Brett Norfleet back for a senior year, a true son of Mizzou. And Caden Green came back as well, another true son. So, the defense is entirely brand new, though. We don't got a single returner from the starting 11. We got some dudes who have been on the team making their first starts. But to me, it's the linebacking core of Robert Woodard and Nicholas Rodriguez for Mizzou that's going to be pivotal. I think, obviously, I look at the edge. We don't have a Zion Young and we don't have a Damian Wilson anymore because Miami freaking stole him. And also Zion Young went to the league. So, like, you're losing 2 guys on the edge. Mizzou last year defensively was a top 10 total defense, and they were ranked 17th 13-11. The only thing Mizzou couldn't do was score. They were ranked 44th in scoring offense, 102nd passing, and 8th in the country rushing. So who do they go get to replace Kirby Moore? They get Chip Lindsey, OC for Michigan. What does Michigan love to do? Run the ball. And I think you're going to see an increase in the run game. They got everybody basically returning. You added some pieces. Austin Simmons has a better arm than Bo Pribula. I think the play action will work better. I think the everything will work better for Mizzou. The only thing not working well for Mizzou is they have, looking on paper, maybe the hardest SEC schedule in the conference. Schedule goes Arkansas, Pine Bluff. You go to Kansas. You get Troy. And then you go to Mississippi State. And then the gauntlet begins. You get Florida, which will be at Texas A&M. You go to Ole Miss. You go to Arkansas. You get Texas. You go to Georgia. You get Kentucky. And you get Oklahoma. A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma. Oof. 4 of those teams made a college football playoff last year. All 5 have college football aspirations. Oof, oof, oof. It is going to look tough for Mizzou. If we even upset one of those teams of A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, I would consider that a successful season. And I think that's what Drinkwitz has done. Drinkwitz is going into his 7th year. He's 46-29. For people saying if Drinkwitz, there's a lot of talk about Drink going to Penn State. I never saw that really happening. There's a lot of talk that Mizzou may fire him. Drink has a lifetime contract at Mizzou. Like, he is Gary Pinkel 2.0. Like, if we're getting mad because we went 8-4 and 8-5, so be it, dude. Barry Odom, we won 3 games, and it was pitiful. Like, I'd rather be winning 8 games and be on the cusp and then get a team like we did in 2023, just have Luther Burden and Brady Cook and Cody Schrader and Theo Weiss just ball out, right? I'd rather have that every couple of years rather than it's like, well, we fire Drink, and it's like, who are we going to get that's better than what Drink has done? And I just don't think you can answer that question right now with Mizzou. Mizzou's investing at a high level. The other end zone's going to be done. They have a clear commitment to football and to basketball. It's, to me, it feels like it's only a matter of time before we have it click. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. The SEC schedule is tough, very tough. I see 3 guaranteed wins. Hopefully, we beat Florida and we get a 4th, and at that point, going 4-5, and your losses are to those teams, top 15 in the country, going for CFPs. As long as it's kind of like the Alabama game and we're knocking on the door, like, that's what it feels like. Like, if we go and play Alabama, no, we don't get Alabama this year, but, like, if we had a quarterback that can throw in that Alabama game, we win that game. Except Bo Pribula didn't know how to throw a football.
Hey, Jacob, I got a question for you.
What do you want?
Does Mizzou go bowling this year?
Yeah. I think we go 3-0 non-conference. We win 3 games in conference play. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky. There's your 6 wins.
I know Kentucky looks good this year.
I'm not worried. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. It's if you want to talk about a guy who's like James Franklin, it's kind of it's Drinkwitz. Like, he's only had like 1 big signature win, and that was the Tennessee game a couple years ago. Obviously, the K-State Harrison Mevis, with the 64-yarder. Like, we've had some iconic moments, but like last year, he had every opportunity to. We had the chance to take down Bama. Fumbled the bag with the play calling. A&M, the play calling was atrocious. But, like, we're going to beat the Vanderbilt game was a game that also got away from us because, surprise, surprise, Bo Pribula couldn't throw. He gets hurt. Zollers comes in, and the defense just tried to do what it could. We somehow beat Auburn, that we probably should have lost that game, but we didn't. So, like, we'll beat the bad teams. We'll lose to the good ones. We're right in the middle. It'll be the same thing it is every year. We go 3-3. If we go 7-5, I'll take that. I am also taking us in this consideration. Like, I think we will beat Florida. So I'm not concerned about those guys. I think Florida has its own issues to deal with. So, but if the defense does what's supposed to continue to do and be a top 10 defense, and the offense gets a little bit better in the pass game, my logic is not as crazy as it sounds. So, now if we go 8-4, Super Bowl. Hang the banner. Hang the banner.
Hang the banner. Yeah. Maybe Mizzou goes bowling. I think who's definitely going bowling is Tennessee. I like Tennessee. Big Josh Heupel guy. Clearly, Boomer Sooner originally. He's over at Tennessee. He's all right now. If you know anything about a Josh Heupel team, you believe in that damn offense. And everybody wants to talk about how it spreads, they throw the ball. His ability to run the ball is second to none. I mean, 2,000 rushing yards as a team for, I think, the past 5 years? They haven't done that since the Power I was, like, the biggest thing since sliced bread. Joey Aguilar, he's not coming back. The biggest concern for them and the biggest question is who's going to be QB1, and it sounds like it's a 4-horse race, but the leaders is George McIntyre Jr., who's a redshirt freshman, and then real freshman, 5-star, Faison Brandon. Mason Phillips sounds like he's going to be the third string, and Ryan Staub from not California, but Colorado is going to be the fourth string. He's going to spend his senior year picking up free merch. But honestly, with the way everything happened last year, with Nico bailing out, you end up getting Joey Aguilar, who was no slouch if you watched any of his tape from App State. And if you followed us here, we told you Tennessee's going to be all right. That guy, Joey Aguilar, is a dude. No need to fear. Like, you might win an extra game now. Like, what I really thought was impressive was the Josh Heupel offense kind of morphed into what Joey Aguilar does best. It was more of a pro-style concept with the wide choice for Joey. Made him very successful in that. Now, I'm a firm believer in Faison Brandon, that 5-star quarterback. I would love to see him go out there and play that first year, get used to this deep choice concept, work in that run game, get him familiar in the offense, because not only is it going to make you good this year, it'll make you really good next year, and this offense is dangerous in year 3 when he fully gets it under there. But are we going to, what are we going to see in year 1 of either one of them? McIntyre is another one. Are you willing to lose out on your 5-star to start McIntyre? Because in the world of NIL, if I'm not playing, I'm leaving. Are you willing to lose Faison Brandon for McIntyre? With this year, though, I always say you believe in a Josh Heupel offense. I think the offense does take a little bit for you to get used to it. I think it's like a Brent Venable's defense. Year 1, it's going to look ugly because it's very difficult is kind of the word. I want to use a better SAT word. It's very difficult to understand and get immediately. I think the offense is going to struggle, and I think it's going to be a lot of quick 3-and-outs, and the defense is going to be left out on the field to dry. And the very good defense that they have, I think, will end up kind of getting punished because of the offense. Now, on the defensive side, I like that they went and got Richard from Miami, the cornerback. They went and got Metcalf from Michigan, another corner. They went and got Hardage from Colorado. Really addressed their secondary needs. Got the other Metcalf from Michigan. Safety help. Lane from Penn State, more safety help. I mean, they went and knew their secondary was what we needed to address, and they addressed it to the fullest of their capabilities. Also went and got some nice depth with Ryan Staub, who is now actually going to be 4th string. So Colorado's 2nd string quarterback is Tennessee's 4th string quarterback. Go figure. I really like Tennessee and what they're doing. I think it's going to be a rebuild feel as opposed to a reload feel. But with that, Josh Heupel is a guy. I believe in Josh Heupel, and I'm really interested to see who wins this race when it comes to QB1 for Tennessee.
Yeah, I wrote down the same thing in terms of the QB battle. Is it going to be McIntyre or is it going to be Brandon? I think they're going to lean McIntyre to start because you just have to, I think, because he's the returner. Or he's older, one of the two, or both.
He's a red shirt from last year.
Yeah. But this Faison kid, from what I'm reading out of camp and what I'm seeing, he's legit, man. He has a chance, If it's like, it's kind of like Alabama where you have Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, where the younger guy is way more talented. But the question is, are you willing to go through the growing pains that comes with that? And Tennessee, if you're looking at a guy that in a team that can probably withstand that, it's this Tennessee team. The schedule and who they've been, they're not going to go compete for SEC titles, and they're not going to compete for the CFP. They're kind of in the Mizzou, Florida realm right now of just kind of like, if the cards work out, that's great. You know what I mean? But like, you got Texas, Alabama, A&M, and LSU. Like, you're going to lose 3 out of those 4 games. You got to go to Georgia Tech, which, you know, they're going to be scrappy. It's going to be a dogfight. Like, and then you get a Vanderbilt game that's a true 50-50 game. You got to go to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's tired of being little brother, man. Tired of being little brother. You know, they lost, they got smoked last year 45-24, you know, and again, Vanderbilt's tired of being little brother, because guess what? Once little brother gets a little taste that he may have one on you, what do little brothers love to do? Pile it.
Be annoying.
Exactly.
Year 1, and now, Jared Curtis.
Yep. So, like, I think Tennessee, I think your expectations are perfectly in the realm of what they should be. But you also got a lot of Penn State. I know they got Jim Knowles, but, dude, everybody from Penn State went to 2 places. Virginia Tech or Tennessee. You know, we didn't even touch on Chaz Coleman, who is being heralded as the next Micah Parsons, the next Abdul Carter, the next guy to wear 11. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, you get that. You get Amari Campbell. You got Xavier Gilliam, all from Penn State. So, Deshaun Bishop, too, returns another year, 1,000-plus rush yards. So, you could steal a couple games, man. You could steal a game against Bama for sure. Heck, if you catch LSU or A&M taking their foot off the gas in the middle of their gauntlet at the end of the year, like, you could steal one from them too. You know, so kind of the world's kind of their oyster for what the expectations truly are with this program. But I think Tennessee fans feel like me, where you kind of know there's 3 to 4 losses on the schedule, because they may lose to freaking Auburn and then go beat like A&M at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always look for a bye week to see if there's an advantage. Unfortunately for Tennessee, their bye week comes before Kentucky. Now, if you try and do a look ahead to Texas A&M the year before that, maybe, but you can't really look ahead when it comes to Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC competition. Like, you can, but that's what happens. Like, you end up losing. We saw that with SMU last year. We've seen that. I mean, even in the American, we saw that, where you looked ahead and you ended up tripping over somebody and losing.
Let's dive into the Florida Gators. You know, we don't
That's
have
crazy.
Well,
I knew you were gonna go Florida.
We said that.
Did you?
Yeah. I go, which way do you want to go? Do you want to go Mizzou, Tennessee, or Florida? And you're like, go Mizzou, then I'll go Tennessee, and then we go Florida. So, trying to speed this up because it's late for that Hunter kid over there on the East Coast, and he's eepy.
It's like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's a long day at work.
Hey, man, that's what we do. We grind it for the people, for the dog pound. We're not going to do the no barking. We're not going to do that. Or let's cover...
Bark. I'm out. Never mind. I don't want to do this anymore.
Bark like you want it. Bark like you want it.
They just changed colors. I mean, that's wild. Making me white. Make me tan.
Florida Gators. What a tumultuous offseason you had. Billy Napier, gone. DJ Lagway, gone. A lot of other people, gone. You did get some people to stay. You bring in John Summerall, who, to me, obviously, if Kiffin was on the market, I would go get Kiffin. I didn't think Kiffin was going to leave Ole Miss, but obviously dollar signs are dollar signs. But I thought John Summerall was the best out of the P4 mix. It was him, Eric Morris, and then a couple other people before I went down the rabbit hole, right? So I think it's a home run hire for the Florida Gators. Year 1, though, of John Summerall, my expectations are really tame. In the media, and a lot of people, including Lindy's All-Americans here, a lot of people have the Gators ranked. Not to maybe start the year, but they have them around the 25 to 30 range. And I'm like, okay, that's not bad. Wide receiver core, immensely talented. I didn't realize how talented this wide receiver core is, Hunter. Vernell Brown III, Dallas Wilson, and Eric Singleton Jr. I saw those 3 names. I go, wow. That might be up there with, like, Texas in terms of, like, best three guys, three wide receivers, right? A&M can maybe make a case. Oklahoma can make a case. But, like, in terms of talent, Brown is going to take another step forward as a sophomore. Singleton coming from Auburn. And then you have Dallas Wilson, who only had, 12 catches last year due to injury, I believe. So the world's his oyster. You bring back Miles Graham, who had 76 tackles for you, 7 tackles for loss. At the linebacking position, you have a whole new defensive line. You kind of have a whole new offensive line as well. You have a new tight end. And so for me, when I'm looking at Florida, we don't know who's starting at quarterback right now. Is it Aaron Philo? Or is it, who is the other guy? Trammell, right? Trammell Jones?
Trammell Jones.
Is it him? Or is it Philo? I feel like it's Philo, but here's the thing. I'm not high on Philo. Like, you guys can have all the talented wide receivers you want, right? Do I think Aaron Philo is a big get for Florida? Probably. Do I think he's going to put Florida in this top 25 echelon? No, I don't think so. I think he's going to have growing pains. I don't see it. But the run game for Florida is going to also be there. They got Jaden Ball, 1,000 plus yards last year, 8 touchdowns, 5.3 yards a carry. To me, all the writing is there, right? Summerall is 43-12 overall as a head coach. The defense steps up, but for some reason, in my heart of hearts, something is telling me Aaron Philo is not going to get to that upper echelon. And I see the hat brim has turned because that means Hunter is taking me seriously, and I'm going to get maybe a little cooked. But I'm not an Aaron Philo believer. And maybe that's just because I played with him in college football 26 last year, and he sucked. But I don't know. I'm not high on the guy. I don't see it. I see the talent at wide receiver. But, yeah, I don't really have much to say if a quarterback can't throw the ball to those receivers to do anything with.
Aaron Philo is the most decorated quarterback to ever come out of Georgia high school state football history. The most decorated. State titleist. Most passing yards, touchdowns, in the same place that produced, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, I'm pretty sure Justin Fields. I mean, dudes on dudes, and he is the most decorated out of all of them. And he sat behind a dude in Hayes King. He wasn't behind a scrub, he was behind a dude. Aaron Philo, year, 3 now, and Buster Faulkner's offense will be painting the field with his throws. Now, when it comes to Florida, yes, the wide receiver room is talented, but you also missed out on Evan Pryor, running back from Cincinnati, who is no scrub on his own. The 2 deep, which, as we know from Billy Napier's system, he likes to have 3 running backs, have 100 carries. That just means that Ball's legs are even more fresh than most people on their senior year. Ball's got fresh legs. Evan Pryor, dude, that 2 deep right there is going to be insane. And when we looked at Florida under Billy, they were an awful team. But it wasn't due to talent. They had so much talent and had no business losing as much as they did. The coaching was just bad. This year, now you have brand new head coach. You have Buster Faulkner, and you have Brad White. When have Georgia Tech, for Buster Faulkner and Brad White, when have they ever had a team as talented as this? They've never had a team that was top 5, top 25 in talent. And every year the coordinators on their own right produce top 25 caliber results. So what's going to happen when we give them the most talented roster they've ever had? I'm so excited to see them boys turn up. I'm not a Gator fan at all, but this team is legit. I mean, they're deep everywhere. Like the offensive side especially, with Aaron Philo throwing to those wide receivers, the 2 running back. I mean, it's insane. They went out, not only, you forgot Ace from Indiana, and then there was another wide receiver they got I wanted to point out earlier, because he's down at the bottom. Where'd he
Micah
go?
Mays or Bailey Stockton?
Bailey Stockton is another one, a guy that's been in Buster Faulkner's. He comes from Georgia Tech. You've got guys that know the system. It's not going to be like Ben Arbuckle coming to Oklahoma where everyone's got to learn it immediately. He's got a good chunk of key core players that already know what he wants to do with his offense, and that makes it so much easier to teach everyone else. The defensive side of the ball, you don't even have to question the Gator defense. You already know where it's at. That wasn't the problem. The talent was never a problem. It was never the players, it was always the coaching, and now you've elevated the coaching to a level that I think Florida's going to be really good. The problem is this schedule is really difficult. You have to play Texas and Georgia. My 1 and 2 when it comes to it. That's 2 losses immediately. I don't think you're more put together than Oklahoma or Ole Miss. It's 4 losses. I say you're more talented than Auburn. I think you're better coached than Auburn. But that's your first matchup at Auburn. I wouldn't be surprised if you slip. South Carolina, you should win. Kentucky, you should win. But Kentucky has gotten better. Vanderbilt's gotten better. Florida State is probably the easiest win. And you have Campbell and FAU on here.
So, Hunter, obviously, when I was saying they were 25 to 30 realm, I'm like they're on the outside. Are you in agreement with me that they're on the outside of that 25 to 30 realm? Or are you more buying into the Summerall hype, the Philo hype, and what this offense could be in the defense coming to what it should normally do? Because everything you're saying tells me you believe in them, and then when we started the segment, you agreed with me that they're on the outside of the top 30.
Looking at the full picture, I mean, they're going to be up there. They're going to beat FAU and then Campbell, and then they're going to get ranked to make it a top 25 matchup between Florida and Auburn, nighttime on ESPN. Will they be ranked this season? Yes, 100%. If that is going to be a, what's that, cow she bet, that shit, do it. You already know what's going to happen. It's televised, night game, ESPN right now. They're going to be ranked. They're going to be 2-0. They're going to be ranked. Are they going to finish the season at 25? No, not at all. If you're going to ask me, are they a top 25 team? No, but I believe in the young talent that they have. I believe in the coaching staff and the core. I think if they had an easier schedule, I'd be like, yeah, they're going to win all these games. They're going to be easily ranked. Like if you gave them I think Penn State has one of the easier schedules I saw. Mm-hmm. You give them a Penn State schedule, they might go 10. That's how talented this team is. Unfortunately, they're running into a buzzsaw of Texas and Georgia, who are at the peak of their teams, and they have they have a bye week in between, actually, looking at it. So you have a bye week for Georgia going to Atlanta, not even in the state of Florida anymore. You have to travel even further.
I guess we're just going to be on different sides of the coin here. And that's good. That's okay.
That's fine.
That's fine. Look at the growth. Let's talk Vanderbilt, Auburn, and then lightly speed run through South Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. We can give Kentucky and South Carolina a little bit more love, but let's talk about Vanderbilt and Auburn here, kind of as in-depth as we want to, and then speed run the last 4 here. Sounds good?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much to say to both these teams because they've had so much turnover. Auburn's got everybody's new. They got every single guy on that team is brand new. I think Jeremiah Cobb is the only returner on offense from what I'm reading here. And then, I'm just going to Auburn first here. You have Byron Brown. You got a bunch of dudes coming over from USF. You get the first year of Alex Golish. Kind of surprised Auburn went that route in terms of coach, but I don't hate it in terms of what they're trying to do. Then you got to rebuild back up this Auburn team, right? So you got Byron Brown, who, if you play college football 27, he may have won a Heisman in your dynasty. He may have won a Heisman in your road to glory. There's a lot, great runner. A lot of people think he's really, really good. They added Bryson Washington from Baylor as well, that traitor to Auburn.
That was so aggressive. That traitor. I'm clipping that, bro.
But they brought in a lot of talent from mid-major to a high major. The USF, they brought in a ton of guys. Hunter, you were really into USF last year, obviously with you being very local. So I guess
Tampa.
What should fans expect with Golish and Brown this upcoming season?
I kind of like the pivot that we made there from Florida, a guy with John Summerall coming from Tulane who only brought over the kicker and the punter, to now Auburn, who brought over all of USF. And to be honest, what did USF do against the SEC last year? Only go undefeated. I don't think he's lost to the SEC since he was in Tennessee. He knows how to put together a team. He knows how to run it. I like Alec Golish a lot. The addition of Bryson Washington to go with Byron Brown, that combo,
if he can stay healthy.
Not dual threat. I mean, yeah, the dual threat ability of him. The read option is what I was looking for. That read option in RPO system is going to be disgusting because you have to sit there and account for Bryson Washington. He is a monster. I like that they brought over all the quality pieces and depth, and then they went and got even more pieces to kind of fill in the puzzle. They know who they are. This is a team that has an identity already, and you just plugged in more pieces because you have a little bit more money. Now, the American has money, so he knows how to build a roster with it. He just now has a little bit more money. So Alec Golish is no dummy. Very talented, extremely smart, offensive side coming from Tennessee, obviously the Josh Heupel coaching tree. It should be very exciting to see how Auburn kind of acts this year. The problem is you have to face Baylor. That's a difficult non-conference already. You then have to see Florida week 3. Vanderbilt.
Hang the banner. Difficult non-conference opponent.
Yeah, hang the banner.
Let's go.
You have to go at Tennessee, at Georgia, LSU, at Ole Miss, and at Alabama. You got 5 games that are brutal. You've got a nice little cushion before Alabama, with that being Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Samford. So you have 3, and then Southern Miss. You have 4 guaranteed wins. Not calling Vanderbilt a guaranteed win or Florida, but it'll be interesting to see how Auburn, and I feel like Auburn's in the same boat of Florida. I just feel like Auburn's kind of peaking now, whereas Florida, I see the vision. I can see the growth. Auburn, everyone's kind of old.
Auburn's more like they're ready to go now. I'm more interested in year 2 of Golish without all the USF pieces that immediately came over with him. So I'm interested to see that long-term development with Golish. Diving over to Vanderbilt. A lot of talent gone for Vanderbilt, right? But they also kept a lot of talent. And Clark Lee knows how to find guys, too, and make the best out of them, right? Pavia, gone. Probably going to get a statue for being a Heisman runner-up in Vanderbilt, right? Eli Stowers, gone, right? A couple other big pieces as well for them left as well on the defensive side. Offense, quarterback, massive flip for Vanderbilt of getting Jared Curtis. What was he, the number 1 ranked? No, number 2 in the 2025
They
class.
changed him. They moved him once he decommitted.
Who was the number 1 quarterback in the 2025 class?
Kid that went to Houston. What's his name? He's going to sit behind Connor Wegman this year, but Houston's going to be really good.
Yeah, they're my dark horse in the Big 12 is Houston. I'm pretty high on Houston. But
I don't remember his name, but he is the number 1 quarterback and number 1 recruit in his class.
But they got Jared Curtis, big arm, 6'3", 230. He's going to have growing pains. This is a team I think can built to withstand those growing pains. You bring back Cedric Alexander, right? Big guy to carry the rock. So this team is immediately there on impact, right? I'm just pulling up my notes here. You're bringing in a lot of new pass catchers. Ja'Cory Thomas, Cole Adams, and Javante Connor, a tight end from ECU, wide receivers from Old Dominion and Bama. He also brought in new linemen as well with Landon Cooper from Pitt, Bo Johnson from NDSU, and then last year Cedric Alexander and McKalen Young combined for 6.5 yards per carry with 17 touchdowns. There's one thing Clark Lee knows how to do. It's running offense. Our offensive ranks last year were 8th, 47th, 9th, and 9th. Defense is where it needs to improve. The passing game defensively needs to improve. They were ranked 116th last year. That was their weakness, was the passing defense. The secondary wasn't great. I think he's done a good number of things to address that and try and mitigate those risks to try and get that 116 up into the, like, if they can go from 116 to 60s or 70s, that's a massive improvement for this team if they can stay in that kind of top 15, top 20 offensive ranks. And the schedule is tough, but it is, a little bit forgiving, right? You have Austin P, Delaware, NC State. And that Vanderbilt-NC State game is kind of a sleeper non-conference matchup between C.J. Bailey and Jared Curtis. That'll be a fun game. At Auburn, at Georgia, Ole Miss. A little bit of a tough stretch there, but that Auburn game should be pretty good. I don't think they're there yet to go beat Georgia or Ole Miss. Then you get a really nice break of Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. Kentucky will give you some fits. Then you got to get Alabama, go to Florida, Tennessee at home. So Vanderbilt's not scared. Clark Lee's got these guys cooking. He knows what he wants out of this team. I'm really interested to see how he does without the first year of Pavia, but I believe in Clark as a coach and what he's grown at Vanderbilt, and I think this team is going to be right towards the middle of the pack / upper part of the pack of the SEC. But I also actually have them. Actually, I take back what I just said. They're in the middle of the pack for me. Very middle of the pack.
I've got them lower tier in the pack. I just think the first year of Jared Curtis, although he is very similar to Diego Pavia in the fact that he has a good arm and can run the ball, bigger body, not afraid to lower the shoulder. I like his game a lot. With him already being full grown, it helps. He's going to put on more muscle, more mass, so he's going to be a little more resilient, especially with the fact that you're going to be taking hits during this. I almost wish that NC State game was week 1, just so you could kind of see that Florida State-Alabama matchup. Last year, Florida State ran an offense just to beat Alabama. They had the quarterback run about, 20 times? I mean, just design plays, all types of things. And then that offense wasn't sustainable. It's just not. I wish we could see that instead of seeing Curtis throw all over Austin Peay and Delaware. Kind of get a warm-up for NC State for them to kind of go and have to show their offense already. But I just don't see Vanderbilt being good. They're going to be a team that's going to have to reload or rebuild as opposed to reload. This could be, obviously you need Jared Curtis to have a good year to be like, guys, you want to play with him. 5-star beast. Like, come to Nashville. Nashville's cool. And if you're 21, you kind of know Nashville's pretty cool, especially on our side. On the East Coast, we're like, we go to Nashville. If you're over in the West Coast, you probably go to Vegas. But we have SEC, you're in Mountain West territory. Or are they Pac-12 now? I think they're Mountain West. UNLV.
Mountain West.
Yeah. So, but
I don't think they went over in the merger.
I don't think so either. I don't see Vanderbilt being competitive like they were last year. I see them taking a huge step down just in the rebuild era. I don't think it's cause for concerns. I don't think Clark Lee should lose his job. I think this should be an expected kind of like, we're going to probably lose 8 games. You could take Arkansas and maybe Kentucky and then Delaware, Austin Peay. Floor 3-9. 3-9.
Let's dive into Kentucky. Will Stein, OC from Oregon, is getting his first year at the helm. Brings in one of the best transfer portal classes in Kentucky football history. Puts together a really nice job. Gets Kenny Mitchie from Notre Dame in the portal. C.J. Baxter as well, I believe. Texas running back. He brings over Nick Anderson from Oklahoma and LSU. It were his prior stops. Added offensive power with Colton Price from Baylor, also a traitor. And a couple other people. Hunter, your girlfriend over there is a Kentucky fan, so you have no choice but to have a semi-interest in Big Blue Nation.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What'd you say?
I said yeah.
Oh, I thought you said ew. And I was like,
I mean, they do play Oklahoma, so it will be ew for that week. But
talented class, man. I didn't realize they got some of these guys here, but It's also the SEC in Kentucky, and they,
The thing was they wanted
the best
Stoops
thing
out. So what they
best thing
did
to
was
come out of Kentucky was Will Levis and Gia Duddy. So
they wanted they wanted Stoops out so bad that they literally gave him pennies to go find an SEC roster with. And now that Stein came over, there's fresh blood. They now have, all this wave of money. So go spend it on the football team. And it results in Nick Anderson. I think he was a 5-star when he committed to Oklahoma. One of the bigger busts, but hopefully a resurgence, over at Kentucky, as he couldn't really play at LSU or Oklahoma. Glad that he stayed in the SEC to figure out that he probably still can't play there. Brock Kaufman switching over from Louisville over to Kentucky. Talk about a traitor. That's one of them. But like you said, probably the biggest piece is Baxton and Minchie, one of the bigger and surprises. I mean, Kenny Minchie was over at, was it Nebraska?
Notre Dame.
He was from Notre Dame, commits to Nebraska, and before he signs in the final hour, Kentucky sweeps him, signs him, and kind of left Nebraska out and being like, what the world? We got swindled by Kentucky? That's not what you think. I think one of the more underrated signings is going to be the wide receiver Shane Carr coming out of Southern Utah, the 6'2 wide receiver. I like his game a lot. It's going to be something that's under the radar, more of a deeper hidden gem. But if he gets on the field, you go notice. 6'2", 190, he's got speed. So very excited to see what they've got. And then as for the schedule,
Youngstown State, Alabama, A&M, at A&M, South Alabama, at South Carolina, LSU, at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, Florida, at Missouri, Louisville.
Not often you see Youngstown State on there. That'll be kind of cool to see on
Penguins.
Network. Yeah,
the Penguins.
So you've probably got one, and then South Alabama. There's 2 guaranteed wins, so 2-10 is going to be your floor. You probably maybe beat Louisville for the first time in a while. You beat Florida last year. They're going to look for revenge. You probably could get Vandy. Maybe 3 wins. 3.
Maybe South Carolina. 3. Maybe 4. Potentially 4. I guess that can segue into our USC talk here, but
I don't know, because USC smells like 7-5 to me. Like they always kind of feel like they're 7-5, kind of like how A&M feels 8-4. South Carolina always has good players. They just don't have good coaching. It's kind of like Florida, but not as bad. And they've got 2 of the better players at their position, with that being Lenora Sellers and then Stewart. But I don't know. The Kendall Briers hire got me fired up. I mean, let me phrase that. He was the OC from Arkansas back when KJ Jefferson was there throwing, all over and running. Now imagine that system here with Lenore Sellers. I mean, Lenore Sellers can actually throw the ball.
Briles was here with Petty. Like, he was the reason why Petty was slinging a rock all over the place at Baylor.
Petty was slinging that thing. I think South Carolina is going to be a little bit better than we all think.
Go ahead.
I think with the South Carolina offense, expect a lot of points. That's not something that we can say for most SEC offenses. And creating opportunities to make plays is something they lacked last year. I don't think you're going to have that this year. Mixed in with the fact that the defense is still very good. It's not an elite defense. It's not an extremely deep defense. But when you have a guy like Stewart who can cause havocs, just pin his ears back on 3rd down and go. I mean, that is a drive stopper in itself.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the South Carolina team, man. Like, year 2 of Lenora Sellers was awful. He did not take the step forward that I think we expected him to. I think if you talk to him, he did not take the step forward that he thought he was going to take, right? I have such a problem with Shane Beamer and it being this whole thing. I'm reading this article. He goes, it's an even number year, and therefore South Carolina will be good. It's just, it's the roller coaster ride of, I'm reading it here. He had stretches of 5-1 and 6-0, as well as stretches of 1-3 and 1-6. In 2022 and 2024, he's gone 17-9. In the last 2 odd number years, 9-15. That's just not the consistency you want in South Carolina, right? I want Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers was my Heisman pick last year, trying to be a little Like, I saw the glimpses of what it was in year 1, right? And going into year 2, I'm like, this guy's going to be ridiculous. Nick Harbor, I don't know if he can really run a route, though. Like, he's fast. But, like, I don't know if he got a route tree. I'm not, like, you know what I mean? And then you got Dylan Stewart, elite edge rusher. Who else is rushing with him? I'll just double Stewart and just chill. Like, that's my problem is that, like, Beamer's gone all over the map. And granted, this could be the year, and it's an even number year. According to the ESPN article, Lenore Sellers could win the Heisman this year because it's an even number year. And USC is a top 15 team, and they've beaten freaking Florida at Florida, Oklahoma on the road, beat A&M. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, like,
no.
But, like, I'm just saying, Beamer's gone after this year because they're going to be bad. You have all this talent. Please just win a couple games, brother. You went 1-7 last year. One in terms of the SEC. Your only win last year was Kentucky. You lost to LSU, and LSU had half a Garrett Nussmeier. And they were too busy having Brian Kelly put a kid on a scissor lift. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, and Clemson was terrible, and you barely beat, you lost to them. Like, you were an embarrassment. You were an embarrassment of a team last year. And you're going to be an embarrassment of a team this year. Like, I think Lenore Sellers takes extra steps. But, like, I just don't see it with Beamer. Do I think Kendall Briles is going to get him there? Maybe. But Lenore Sellers was also careless with the football. And the throwing, I don't know where he was throwing half the freaking time. So, I was so burned by South Carolina last year that I'm just sick of their shit. I'm just sick of them. I'm sick of them. I don't even want to talk about these last two teams. These last two teams make me sad. I don't want to talk about them.
Make me sad. I was gonna say I kind of like what they did in the transfer portal, getting Caleb Herring to pair with with Stewart on the other side. You went and got Nitro Tuggle, who we know from Georgia as being a really fast wide receiver on the field as well as on the roads. You went and got DJ Black, the 6'3" wide receiver from UCF. One of the bigger signings that they went and got is Christian Clark out of Texas and Coleman out of Penn State, two really good running backs. And you have Kelby Collins, a defensive lineman out of Alabama. I think they tightened up a little bit on defense. They got Scott out of Kentucky. They've got another defensive lineman out of Illinois. And I think they bolstered up a little bit more. I think they know, with this being Sellers' last year, they needed to bulk up. You get Kendall Briles. I see it, the even year trend. It's just going to be enough to save Shane Beamer's job. I'm going to go here with the schedule. Kent State, Towson, there's 2. Mississippi State, that's 3. At Alabama, not comfortable saying that's a win. Kentucky, I'll give you that, there's 4. At Florida, honestly wouldn't be surprised. Tennessee, at Oklahoma, Texas A&M, at Arkansas. You have Georgia, and then at Clemson. So at minimum, I see you being 5-7.
Fired. He's gone. 5-7's not safe. 5-7's not saving your job, brother.
No,
listen. If you got paid to be shitty at your job, then I'd be a head football coach every day of the week. Like, my gosh.
Now, if he upsets Georgia, A&M, Oklahoma, or Bama,
I think South Carolina fans are going to be mad because I genuinely think they want Beamer gone.
Then they go 6-6, and you can't get rid of him because
you can. You can. You can get rid of him. It's easy, brother.
He's pulling a Gus.
It's easy, brother.
If it's against the wall, I'm beating Bama.
Oh my God, it's easy. You look at the head coach in the eye and go, "Hey man, here's your check. Here's your buyout for like $30 million. Go to Myrtle Beach and like chill, have a beer."
Myrtle.
Yeah, bro. Have a beer, bro.
That's gross.
I don't care, bro. I don't care. I don't even want to talk about these two teams, bro. Mississippi State and Arkansas, guys, thanks for coming. Arkansas had the worst hire potentially in the hiring cycle. They were the first team to fire their head coach. And then they missed out on not only Summerall, they missed out on Golish and then Eric Morris. Like, mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And then you follow it up with Ryan Silverfield, who barely, does anything with Memphis. Is that the best hire we're going to get? They have some dudes that maybe make me feel nice, like Quincy Rhodes, D-end, right? 11.5 tackles for loss last year, 8 sacks. You got ACU, David Oak coming in. I don't know. I'm looking at this Mississippi State team, and I'm just like, who's any of these guys? I saw a thing the other day where people are really high on Kamario Taylor. I just hope Kamario knows that he's playing for Mississippi State and that he has no other talent around him, because they spent all the money on him. Both these teams are going to suck. Both these teams are not going to win any SEC football games unless they play each other. Then the stoppable object meets the movable force.
They don't.
But yeah, I don't see them beating anybody in the SEC, man. No shot.
Arkansas
well, that's
has
talking
to play Tulsa.
Get screwed, dude.
They might go 1-11.
Mississippi State's got to play Minnesota week 2.
Ew.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk about these teams. These teams just make me sad. I'm over them.
These teams make me sad.
I'm so over them, dude. I don't want to talk about them. And this freaking book has them ranked as like the 59th and 52nd ranked team in the country, and I'm like, I can name you 30 other teams that are better than those two. And some of them are mid-majors.
Poor, Hunter Osborne and Ty Lockwood. Why did we go to Arkansas? Jasper
Money.
Parker.
I'll tell you why. Money.
I don't even understand the hiring of Ryan Silverfield.
Nobody does.
Memphis had the most money of anybody in the group of 6, and probably
Correct.
more money than some teams in the Power 4 with FedEx. He always had a much more talented team than everyone and never won a conference championship. No. He had the more talented team in almost every game he's ever coached.
I'm trying to pull up the American schedule from last year.
Never. He had Seth Hennigan for 4 years or 3 years.
I know.
He didn't even recruit Seth Hennigan. He was given Memphis' greatest quarterback in school history.
So
never won a title.
Memphis last year beat Chattanooga, beat Georgia State, beat Troy. They did defeat Arkansas. That just tells you how bad Arkansas is. They beat FAU. They beat Tulsa. I think Memphis is ranked at this point. They lose to UAB, but then they go back and they beat USF, beat Rice.
Yeah, they looked ahead on that one.
You lose to Tulane, you lose to ECU, and you lose to Navy, and then you get smoked by NC State in the Gasparilla Bowl.
I remember the players said they never prepared for that game. They only prepared for USF, and it cost them that game.
So, Memphis, whatever. Talk about a team that has new guys. Dude, I'm literally looking at this thing. It goes, returning starters in bold. They have one dude in bold. The entire defense is new, and the entire offense is new. But we'll talk about the American maybe never. But, yeah, I don't want to talk anymore about Arkansas. Just a disgrace to SEC football.
Talk about a better team, man. Mississippi State.
It used to be good, man. Darren McFadden, Ryan Mallett, Hunter Henry. We can name dudes. Just naming dudes, man. But with that,
Mississippi State don't look that much better. They got Jaden Rashada's on this team. That's gross.
Remember when he made a big deal about I didn't get my bag from Florida, and then he went to Arizona State, didn't do anything there, and now he's playing for freaking Arkansas.
He went to a million different schools.
Yeah, that's a guy that's just bag chasing.
Yeah, he went to Sac State.
He's the worst version of college football.
He helped Sac State in a way get to the FBS level.
They were gonna get to the FBS level no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't just wake up one day and go, oh, we have enough money to go be in the FBS. Let's just go do it.
AJ Swan's on this team.
But without further ado, Hunter, who do you have in the SEC title game, and who do you have winning the SEC?
Yeah, I hinted at it earlier. I definitely have Georgia versus Texas, and with that, I'm not going to take Texas. It's just not happening. I'm going to go ahead and just pick the dogs again.
I have Texas and Georgia as well, and I have Texas finally shaking the demon off their back, and Texas with that uber talented roster with all the money poured into it finally win an SEC title. And if that happens, we're talking maybe number one team in the country by the CFP by that point, potentially. But I'm really high on Texas, and I have them winning their first SEC title. So, without further ado, he has been the Hunter Malone, the GDP guru, your mom's favorite little leaguer. I've been your host, Jacob Prill. Like, comment, share, subscribe on all platforms. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube every Friday. When the season starts, we're going to be going to a bi-weekly. Monday recaps, Friday previews. All the